Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Not Funny Guys Presents News Radio Rewatch, your number one and perhaps only podcast doing a rewatch of News Radio. So join us, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This is episode 4, and today we will be covering the final 2 episodes of season 1, Luncheon at the Waldorf and Sweeps Week. Let's get into this, and let's start with Luncheon at the Waldorf. Waldorf. Fun word to say. Now, this episode was written by Brad Isaacs and directed by Peter Baldwin. It originally aired on the 2nd of May, 1995. A very brief summary is that Lisa is worried about Bill's motivations for taking Beth, our favorite office redhead secretary, to a broadcaster's luncheon, and Dave has to deal with the station being grossly over budget. So there's our A-B plot line. So we open with Bill McNeil, the best thing about the show, approaching Beth about going to the broadcaster's luncheon at the Waldorf. Wants to take her as his +1. And now there's all kinds of, classic confusion by what does he mean by taking her out to lunch? Everyone thinks it's a date. Bill asked her. Everyone but Beth thinks it's a date. Also, Bill doesn't think it's a date either. So our A plot is the lunch quote unquote date and Bill and Beth and whether or not it is a date. Classic miscommunication and vagueness episode here. Of course, Mr. James, as usual, stops by in Dave's office on a phone with Dave's mom as Dave walks into his office. Sorry, I forgot to properly set this up. Dave walks into his office to find Mr. James on his phone talking to his mom, accidentally hit his speed dial. Back when speed dial was a thing. Our B plot is now established as Dave is given to investigate and find out why they are $6,000 over budget. Apparently it was Mr. James's thing. He's now got Dave to do it too. He says it once was a lot of money for me, but Dave's going to track it down. So Bill now goes to talk to Beth about going home to change, and Bill suggests she wear a blue dress from the Christmas party. Now they've all been speculating about this. He apparently likes it, and they think she wants her dressed up sexy for him. Lisa is complaining to Dave about this being inappropriate. Age gap and colleagues at work, power dynamic, all that fun stuff. Dave is doing the budget, and he finds out that Lisa does math in her head quite well because he starts asking her, and she's like, boom, boom. And this is distracting Lisa. Lisa seems to be annoyed with Dave that he's not taking this problem seriously. But when he asks her about the budget, she also seems to know some. David wants to know what she knows. Something about a phone bill. Doesn't want to rat anybody out. It turns out it's Matthew. Matthew is apparently making long-distance phone calls, creating a giant money suck. He's been calling France. So Matthew then snitches on Catherine about going to the hair salon and charging it to the corporate card. So now he's getting somewhere. Once you knock over one domino, the rest of them start to come together. Bill now shows up all dressed up for lunch. He's in his tux. Lisa calls Bill out and thinks that he thinks she's jealous that he didn't ask her. Bill shows off, shall we say, his casual misogyny, and Lisa is ready to punch him when Beth arrives in the blue dress, looking a bit like she could be mistaken for a high-end hooker. But Bill has a corsage for her. Oh, and off they go. 3 p.m. though comes, and Beth and Bill are not yet back, and Lisa's worrying. Dave finally confronts Catherine about the hair services. She gets mad, and Beth at him, and Beth finally comes back looking upset. Bill enters, and then this is where the whole misunderstanding of the plot ace overwhelms. Everyone thinks that he was being a creep. Beth comes out of Dave's office where she'd been hiding and said Bill is innocent. Beth is the one who threw herself at Bill and made it awkward. Yeah, Dave learns that Bill apparently was using a limo on the regular, and that's what he had been with Beth, another wasteful spending. Everyone comes into the office. Dave decides to confront them, and they all leave because no one wants to own up to this. And then Beth admits, though, that she has 93 subscriptions placed to the office for magazines. Lisa eventually apologizes to Bill because apparently Beth leaned over and Frenched him in the car, and he is the victim, and he sees her like a daughter, and this is gross. Beth and Bill talk in Dave's office. Lisa joins them and she apologizes to Bill. Beth does claim it was in the spur of the moment. Bill not satisfied. Gil says he feels unsafe to be alone with her. Awkward encounter with Bill and Beth in the elevator later. Dave comes by. Bill thinks it's safer that he takes the stairs. So the dynamic flips here. And then, of course, Dave and Mr. James wrap up the episode there in the office. Dave reveals what he found. One more glitch was a fuel for the traffic chopper that Mr. James uses as a 90% overrun to fly back to his house in Connecticut to feed his dogs. And so they come to the mutual recommendation that from now on, we will simply increase the budget to match the overrun. Ta-da! Fun episode. Love the misinterpretation. But let's move on to our next one, Sweeps Week. So, Sweeps Week, written by Joe Furry and Paul Sims, directed by Peter Boners. This one aired on the 9th of May, 1995, and this wraps up season 1 for us. And of course, in this episode, we meet Dave's ex-girlfriend from Wisconsin, who comes for a visit under the assumption that they're still dating, and proceeds to then make Lisa nervous. And the ex-girlfriend, well, soon to be, is Janine Garofalo, playing Nancy. Love it. We get into this episode. Lisa and Dave continue their plotline C of the secret office affair, need a new code word for this instead of discussing new promos, because she comes in and says that he thinks it's a code word for them to make out. No, they actually do need to, so they need to come up with a new code word. Lisa leaves to talk to Stuart, her ex-boyfriend, which makes Dave jealous. So this is all tit for tat getting out of hand. Her laughing makes Dave want to let Beth listen in just to find out. Bill learns that Stuart is on the phone. He misses him too. Everybody loves him. They're going to get back together. Of course, they don't know about the secret relationship. Bill thinks they will get back together, of course. He tells Dave. Mr. James finds out Stuart. He talks to him as well. Everybody loves Stuart. Mr. James goes on to recounts this seminar. And this is our other guest star, Bill Gesslinger, playing Tom P. Baxter. Mr. James apparently went to some seminar, met a guy he thinks he's brilliant named Tom P. Baxter, wants them to do an interview of him, and puts it to Dave to talk to Bill about doing this interview. Plot A here is the jealousy between Dave and Stuart. Plot B is going to be this Tom P. Baxter guy. Of course, Dave's jealousy to Stuart is well-founded considering how everybody is acting about him. David, of course, in an attempt to match this jealousy, he talks about the girl he left behind in Wisconsin, and Lisa then encourages him to call Nancy. It's unhealthy to cut people out forever, as they trying to talk about the jealousy he has in the Stuart problem. Beth translates the awkwardness, and Lisa asks about it. Nancy is coming to visit. Thinks they're still together. Yeah. Bill does an interview with Tom, but keeps talking over Tom. Yeah. And this is when Nancy shows up, of course, played by Janine Garofalo. And so the interview that he attempted to set up didn't go well. And apparently Mr. James doesn't just go to these things. He puts these things on because it's a good way to schmucks. Next day, Lisa learns that Nancy doesn't know that they broke up. A lot apparently has been left unsaid. So getting back to our plot B about Tom the Visionary, Bill knows blowing him off and forcing him to reschedule is the plan. Knows he's a fraud, sniffed it out, but Dave is not buying it. He's compelled to push the interview because he thinks this is what Mr. James wants. Nancy comes back again. Matthew loves her. She's brought presents and pastries for everyone. The only people who don't get, I think, a unique pastry, I think it's Lisa, who's the one who doesn't get. She gets a plain donut. Nancy and Lisa are left to talk alone. She threatens Lisa in a very cute way. Lisa, and of course, like I said, she gave her a plain donut to shade her. Nancy is apparently threatened by Beth too. Any woman in proximity to Dave. So, one more day, Nancy's still there in New NYC. Dave still hasn't officially made it clear that they're broken up, forcefully enough. Keeps saying the word apparently. All the men seem to love Nancy. Women, not so much. There's obviously a gender divide here because Nancy is basically trying to make sure none of them are trying to make a move on Dave. Catherine has now been brought in to interview Tom, the Visionary, Future business apparently is in computers. And I hate to break it to you, but in 1995, that is way past good news or new news. Not new at all. He's a fraud. Tom is currently unemployed. He doesn't even have a computer. And when Mr. James, Dave's finally telling this whole thing in a fiasco, Mr. James didn't see it, but he wonders why Bill didn't sniff it out, because he's usually good at it. Well, Bill did. Now Dave finally understands and gets to tell Bill that he was right. Nancy comes in, goes in the office, then leaves crying because Dave has finally broken up with her, telling her, and he apparently even told her he's dating Lisa. Nancy then comes back in. Dave walks Nancy to the elevator. She decides to blurt out to everyone that Dave is dating Lisa, while Matthew tries to take a picture, a group photo. Reveals the plot line of plot line right out in the open. But after she leaves, everybody goes, you know what? She is crazy. These two guys, the bickering twins. Lisa is talking about closure when then Stuart calls. And Dave finds Tom on a computer in the office and tells him to get out. So that brings us to the end of season 1. So next time, season 2. We're getting back on our regular schedule here. So we're going to be coming back to you. You'll get us back on 2 times this week. So we'll be back very soon. So keep an eye out for that. And if you want to stay informed, remember, hit the like bell, hit like button, the subscribe, the notification bell, all that fun stuff. Comment, share, lovely stuff. Help this thing keep going. And of course, if you want to have a say, you can write us. Where can you write us? You can write us at notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com in the description below with all our socials and in the ticker. You can write me and tell me things you like that I'm doing, make suggestions for things I could be doing differently. Or you could be like this guy who commented the other day on one of my Red Dwarf videos who just told me to shut up. Guess what? Not going to do it. So that's a main way. Of course, you can contact us on socials and comment on the videos, but you can also write us. We love to get your emails. And not only can you email over here where we talk about on the YouTube where we talk about TV shows, you can also email us about our other Not Funny Guy products, which are our podcasts. So we have our main podcast, Not Funny Guys Presents Off the Reels, where we talk about movies. We just got done doing all the theatrical Batmans. We are now currently in a three-pack of Danny DeVito films. We did... right now, you can go see our Romancing the Stone, but we will eventually be doing next week LA Confidential, and then the week after that Twins, before we move on to who knows what we'll be moving on to. I think we are planning, though, to rank our Nolan films. So, something to tune in for, if that's your thing. But if movies aren't your thing, you want something else that's not your flavor. If you like wrestling, particularly pro wrestling like WWE and horror movies in particular, you can check out my colleagues, Casey and Eric, not on the main pod. They've got a separate pod, Not Funny Guys Presents Wrestling with the something with it all. Jeez, I'm literally forgetting the title here. Wrestling with the Horror of It All. That's it. I knew it would come back to me. It's been a while. Where they talk about that stuff there and torture Eric. And if that's not your cup of tea, we will be returning very soon here with new episodes of our 3rd podcast, where you can find myself, Dr. John, and our Not Funny gal, Dr. Kristen, and Not Funny Guys Presents Thinking About Thinking, where we talk about AI culture. We discuss more of a conversation podcast, if that's your kind of thing. But as I said, in the meantime, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until next time, remember, keep it not funny.